The bridge stank of ionized blood and burnt alloys. Commander Lyoran's mandibles clicked in stress as he watched the final transmission from the Allied fleet dissolve into static. The Drexer swarm had overrun everything. Shields, reinforcements, diplomacy, it all failed. Halari Prime was gone, its surface a molten scar. Every command post, every strategic fallback, vaporized. The last functioning battleship, the Varkinul, drifted through debris with only 37 survivors from 5 species, most injured, some delirious. The war wasn't just lost, it was erased. The room fell silent as the communication console, lit up with options no one dared touch. Not because they didn't know what to do, but because they did. The humans were on the list. Earth, the Terran domain, the Deathworlders. Their name came up only in curses or warnings. No one aligned with them. You didn't. Because once you called them, they didn't come to help. They came to finish things. The Velron incident was still taught in hushed tones. A small planetary conflict. Routine. Earth answered a call for aid. They responded with orbital bombardment so precise it vaporized the planet's tectonic control centers. 10 billion lives ended, including the people who called for help. Earth's only explanation was, the source of suffering has been neutralized. Mission success. Lyoran looked around at the huddled, broken crew. He saw no soldiers, just victims, disillusioned and drained. The war had shattered alliances, exposed betrayals, and consumed empires. They had one enemy left, the Drexar, and no weapons, no chance, no hope. He triggered the transmission. His fingers hovered for a final second before pressing send. To Terran Command. This is Commander Lyoran of the Halari Unity. We are the last survivors of the Western Galactic Front. We formally surrender and request Earth's intervention against the Drexar. Coordinates enclosed. Tactical data included. We are unarmed. Please, help us. No embellishment, no pride, just raw data and desperation. For the next 30 hours, they waited. No reply. Not even an echo. Some believed it was better that way. Maybe Earth had forgotten the galaxy. Maybe they were extinct. Some even prayed that was true. Then the console pinged once. No video, no signature, just 4 words in cold Terran code. Message received. Stand clear. Lyoran stared at the words until his chitinous fingers shook. That's it? Someone asked. Yes, Lyoran whispered. That's it. A Halari technician leaned in. They're coming. He didn't answer. Because he didn't know if Earth understood what help meant to the rest of the galaxy. Or if they even cared. Another voice asked quietly, did we do the right thing? Lyoran stared out into the debris field where their allies once fought and died. We did what was left. No one spoke again after that. They knew the Drexer would come, but now something worse had heard them cry. 3 days passed. No fleets arrived. No formal reply. The Varkinul drifted along the edge of the shattered Drexar perimeter, surrounded by corpses of once mighty vessels. Sensors remained clear until they weren't. A tear in space appeared like a wound opening across reality. Not a wormhole, not slip space, something older. The ship that emerged didn't announce itself. It didn't need to. It was ugly, functional, boxy, covered in mismatched plating and outdated weapon ports. It looked nothing like the gleaming curves of Alliance architecture, but it carried gravity distortions 10 times its mass, a walking paradox. Insignia scrawled across its hull read, Vindicator. Lyoran leaned forward. One ship, the Halari comms officer checked again. Confirmed, no others, no escorts. Another officer muttered, they didn't even bring a fleet. But the Vindicator was already moving, not toward the Varkinul, It ignored them entirely, heading straight into Drexar space. No communication, no scan back, just purpose. On the outer fringe, Drexar formations began responding. 37 Hive cruisers, shifted formation, interception vectors locked, a three-dimensional net of force and fire, and still the Vindicator moved at sublight. The crew aboard the Varkinul watched in silence. Even breathing seemed to violate something sacred. Leoran whispered, "They're going to die." But no one did. The first Drexar cruiser launched a plasma spread. The Vindicator didn't dodge. It accelerated. The entire barrage hit, then dispersed across a localized gravity well. It folded the energy, redirected it into itself, and returned it in a single focused beam. The Drexar cruiser disappeared. No explosion, no wreckage, just deletion. The next 10 seconds were worse. The Vindicator bloomed open like a mechanical flower. Turrets extended, not traditional, not energy-based. Kinetics. Tungsten rods the size of tree trunks launched faster than escape velocity, puncturing Drexar hulls with math, not magic. Radiation pulse bombs detonated before impact, frying organic systems before shrapnel tore them apart. Every counterstrike from the Drexar failed. Their predictive models didn't align with Terran behavior. Humans fought with no regard for retreat, resource conservation, or negotiation. It wasn't warfare, it was a message. In 23 minutes, a third of the Drexar perimeter was silent. The rest scattered, not to regroup, but to flee. And still, Earth didn't speak. Aboard the Varkinul, the Helari watched as systems began returning online. Their comms, long jammed by Drexar interference, flickered. A final message arrived from Vindicator, text only. Interference cleared. "You're welcome. Nothing more. No congratulations. No further instructions." Leoran stared at the message. It was the coldest victory he had ever witnessed. "We asked for help," someone whispered. "And they gave it." But another voice said what they all felt. They didn't come to save us. They came to end something. And suddenly, Earth's silence felt louder than the war. The Vindicator vanished as abruptly as it arrived. No orbit, no contact, no lingering gesture of alliance. It finished what it came to do and left, like a scalpel discarded after surgery. The Helari survivors floated in stunned silence, drifting, amidst wreckage and ghosts, struggling to grasp the scale of what they'd witnessed. Leoran allowed himself one moment of relief before the proximity alarm screamed again, but this time there was no enemy. The Vindicator had returned, not with weapons armed or targeting systems hot, just presence. It loomed above the Helari, world of Solmari 4, their last functioning colony. It didn't move. It didn't answer hails. Then, without warning, it released a wideband transmission, not to Leoran. Not to military channels, to everyone. Data streamed like a torrent, encrypted Helari military files, hidden archives, war logs. The feed exposed every classified order, every cover-up from the past 60 years. Footage surfaced of biological experiments on Terran prisoners during the Velrun incident. Files stamped with Helari approval. Genocide directives masked as containment procedures. Dates, locations, witnesses. None of it could be denied. Earth hadn't just come to fight the Drexar. It came to settle a score. Leoran shouted for the transmission to be shut down, but it was too late. Civilian networks were already saturated. Every citizen of Solmari, every outpost, every ambassador's relay, watching, horrified. Then, Vindicator spoke. For the first time, a simple audio message. "You summoned us. That makes you involved. No empire that betrays mercy deserves it in return." Precision strikes followed. Not genocide. Not scorched earth. Surgical. Every military installation tied to the cover-ups was eliminated. Government data cores purged. Bio-research centers reduced to smoldering craters. The colony's defense grid never even activated. It wasn't war. It was reckoning. Some Hilari screamed into their comms, "We had no choice." "We were desperate." The human reply came with all the warmth of a vacuum. "So were they, when you let them die." No formal trial, no appeals, just cold execution of consequence. Earth had not forgotten the past, and it didn't distinguish between Drexar violence and Hilari betrayal. Those who fled were tracked. Every ship with falsified identification codes was flagged and marked. One by one, over months, they disappeared. Never with fanfare. Never with warning. The message traveled across galactic networks faster than light ever could. Help from Earth comes with a price. Truth or judgment. And now everyone understood the full meaning behind Earth's old warning. Be careful what you ask us to fix. We don't stop until the rot is gone. Leoran watched as the last of his government was silenced, not out of malice, but because Earth had once trusted them, and they broke it. The galaxy didn't speak of Earth for a long time after that. Not in public, not in formal council meetings, but in the shadowed corners of war rooms, in the encrypted chatter between nervous empires and whispered over border transmissions. Earth became something else entirely. Not a member of the galactic community, not a threat to be measured. Earth became a constant, like gravity, like death. You didn't challenge them, you didn't invite them, and you never ever asked for help unless you were absolutely sure. Your hands were clean. The Drexar swarm was gone. Entire species vanished, their planets sterilized, records deleted. Earth had not just destroyed their war machines, they had dismantled their memory. A coordinated cultural erasure, precise and merciless. No songs, no ruins, just vacuum, and they did it alone. Hilari survivors attempted to regroup on outer worlds, fractured and shamed. The once proud species now wandered in exile, stripped of trust and territory. Their names triggered automated red flags in neutral systems. Trade stations refused them entry. Peace accords excluded them by default. They were marked, not by war crimes tribunals, but by Earth's silent disapproval. In refugee camps, children grew up asking why the humans hadn't forgiven them. Elders gave no stories, only facts. They remember what others bury, they said, and they don't believe in letting rot fester. For some, it bred resentment. For most, it bred respect, laced with dread. Then came the cubes. All across the frontier, black monoliths appeared in orbit around planets once touched by the Drexar, silent, unpowered, and impenetrable. No one claimed them, but everyone knew who had placed them. Earth didn't explain. It didn't need to. Each cube bore one unchanging symbol, the outline of a Terran skull encased in a globe of stars. Leoran, in hiding under an alias, sent one last message into the void. A simple one, no coordinates, no signature, just 4 words. We understand. We remember. There was no reply. But months later, something changed. Hilari children were born immune to the fungal spores that once allowed Drexar infestation. Scientists couldn't trace the source. There were no signs of manipulation, no Earth tech, no delivery vectors, just a subtle, irreversible change in their biology. A gift, unasked for, undeserved. That was how Earth answered now. Quietly, precisely. Their justice was cold, but their mercy colder still, measured, rare and final, and so the story of the SOS lived on, not as a tale of salvation, but as a warning, passed down in whispers. If you call Earth, they will come, not to rescue you, not to reason, but to finish what you started, and you may not survive the ending.